Straya, yeah, NBA Straya, how are you going? Here you going? I hope you're right. You should be. Why is that, Jim? Well, it's TGIF, am I right? That's right. Friday, February 21. I'm your host, James Clements. You can also see me on the AFL Today Show. A bunch of other stuff. Here at Larry Armour Studios, it is hot. It's bloody hot. Tell you what, I'm swimming. Good show today. We're changing up the format a little bit from NBA Australia for the rest of this season. I've taken a little bit of, listener feedback on board. We're basically going to smash through some game wraps, etc., and sort of keep the sort of same similar-ish sort of structure, but try to get through everything a bit quicker and just not focus on stuff that's already happened and sort of just try to pump you up for some year-nars and some previews and stuff. So bear with us as we sort of, straighten this all out. But today's show is an absolute cracker. We've got my cousin Angus on. Angus Glover of the South East Melbourne Phoenix. That's right. South East Melbourne Phoenix are up against the Illawarra Hawks in the NBL Finals, so we brought Angus Glover on. He's not actually my cousin, but he's a ginger. So, you were thinking it, and you were like, well, it's plausible because they're both gingers. And I'm like, yeah, see, I'm not racist. You are. Nah, it's all good. The big news, obviously, Wemby is done for the season. We'll talk that out. Josh Giddey still loves MSG. He had a great game today. Bobby Portis got suspended for how long? And then all the other stuff. So, Unpopular Opinion of the Day, Australian Player Watch, Outback Takehouse, pick and preview for each of the games for the weekend. So, let's get into it without further ado. Episode 1210 of NBA Australia. That's right, 710 episodes since Shane Hill last came on. That was fun, wasn't it, on Wednesday? Anyway, let's go!
The worst of days!
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Dyson Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
Hi, this is Ryan Brockhoff.
This is Mitch Creek. This is Nick Kay.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya. You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
Well, you better, especially if you're Leeward Munson. Don't Google that. It's horrible. Shaq had his mouthpiece in his butt. Oh, come on, man. Anyway, let's start today's show the way we start every show here at NBA Australia with the daily. I believe it's some sort of, is it a whip around, Jim? There it is, of course. Wemby is done for the season. What the hell? Victor Wembanyama. That's right. Started feeling symptomatic for just deep vein thrombosis around All-Star game, right? Thought he'd feel better after a couple of days off. He didn't. Went through a bunch of tests and they found blood clots. Deep vein thrombosis, obviously nothing to screw around with. Blood thinning medication is your treatment, and obviously that means you can't play in a contact sport like basketball. Now, you might remember there have been players whose entire careers have been brought to a stop by blood clots, so this is very serious. I'm not one to be, serious, Jim. This is serious, Jim. Tizage? Yeah, that's not a good band. But the deep vein thrombosis in your right shoulder. Remember Chris Bosh? After LeBron leaves Miami, it's he and D-Wade, and then Chris Bosh is ruled out forever. Not great. My good friend Mirza Teletovic. I brought him up the other day, actually, on the Hammer Show. Anyway, he also was ruled out due to blood clots. He was an absolute weapon from downtown, was Mirza. Anyway, so he's only played 46 of 82 games so far, so he obviously now can't win Defensive Player of the Year. Is that a big tick for Dyson Daniels? ? But obviously that's less than the sort of 58 games as well to qualify for leading the league and stuff too. You got to hit 70%. So he would have absolutely been smashing the blocks title. It's a bit crazy. Like, he's just like so far ahead of dudes. It's nuts. But because he's only played 46 games, he's not going to be able to win Defensive Player of the Year. It's a weird one because not only does it, and we'll talk about this later, but the Spurs season, like that's just, what are we doing here? But you have to take this seriously. It's Wemby. He's the face of the NBA. He's wildly talented. You got to look after this dude, right? So they've done the smart thing and gone, we're not even going to put like we'll check in a month. They've just gone, look, to manage expectations, he's done for the season. I respect the hell out of that. This is a Spurs team that's like, we want to kind of make the playoffs. We've traded for De'Aaron Fox. Like, let's get these guys blooded in the postseason. And this has cropped up. And a weaker organization would have gone, let's keep trying to sell tickets and maybe say that Wemby might be back in 6 to 8 weeks. They've gone, no. We're going to sit you for the rest of the season and we're going to make sure that you're all right, which is very smart. So, tough one for Spurs fans. It stinks. It probably derails their season, obviously. Like, De'Aaron Fox is still very good, but by himself, with Chris Paul, with Keldon Johnson, and co, it's going to be very, very hard for them to keep their heads above water. At the same time, why not tank ? Let's go. Remember, they gave up nothing in that Fox deal, so why not? Just saying. Otherwise, like, it's a weird one for the other teams. Like, you think about, so who became favourite for Defensive Player of the Year after Wemby was ruled out? It was Jaren Jackson Jr., which makes a bit of a big difference for he and Evan Mobley on Cleveland. That's right, on Cleveland. Because if they win a Defensive Player of the Year, suddenly, as they go into their next contract, they can get a huge pay bump where they actually get a super max rather than just like a normal max, which is probably what they would have been on. And the same thing goes for Dyson Daniels. That's right, this is NBA Australia, Jim. You just played Dyson saying, let's do it for NBA Australia. And I'm saying, as the person who may have bet on him at $56 to win Defensive Player of the Year, I reckon that'd be awesome, obviously. So it'd be great for him to have a crack. He's leading the league in steals. The problem is I feel like the NBA's gun shy after actually, voting a perimeter player as Defensive Player of the Year after they got burned by Marcus Smart a couple of years back. So hopefully Dyson gets a bit of a look in. But at the same time, you got to remember, with his contract situation, having a Defensive Player of the Year underneath your belt, definitely not going to hurt, but it does make big, big differences for some of these players where that max contract, and some of these teams as well, like you've got Memphis trying to build out a contender, you've got the Cavs trying to build out a contender as well with dudes already on like locked away contracts, and Mobley's like the one still up in the air with an extension. It's like, ooh, it's pretty interesting very quickly. Anthony Davis, injury update. He's at least going to be reevaluated in 2 more weeks, said the Mavs today. It's like, okay. We're going to talk about Nico Harrison as well later. Bobby Portis, fighting around the world. Got suspended 25 games. Wow. For violating the league's anti-drug policy. Sidelines him for the majority of the rest of this season, right? He tested positive for the drug tramadol, which is used to treat severe pain among adults. The problem is his agent was like, Bobby unintentionally took a pain medication called tramadol, thinking he was taking a pain medication called Toradol. Yep. Toradol is approved, and he's used it previously in all teams and players' use of pain inflammation at times. Tramadol, however, is not approved and was just recently added to the banned substance list. The thing is, he then threw an assistant on the bus. The tramadol pill he took came from an assistant of his with a valid prescription for the painkiller, which he mistakenly told Bobby was Toradol. I think the lesson here is, if you're an elite athlete getting paid millions of dollars, don't take pills from your assistant! What are you doing, Bobby? Bloody hell! Anyway, speaking of agents, Mark Williams, you might remember him from the rescinded trade. Boy, did Charlotte get some revenge yesterday when they came back and beat the Lakers. That was a sick game, 197. We'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, Mark Williams' agent's like, yep, the overwhelming sentiment after conferring with multiple nationally recognized doctors is the Los Angeles Lakers should not have failed Mark Williams on his physical. Mark was ready and able to play for them and should have been given that opportunity. Cry more. So Outback Takehouse, the Lakers got cold feet after everybody clowned them for going, yeah, great, you've solved all your center problems by trading your 2031, your last remaining asset, for a bloke who barely ever plays. And then Rob Pelinka's going, hang on a second, wait, that's his games played? Oh, God. Fail his physical. Boom. I'd be very, very, very dirty for Mark Williams and the Hornets. The Hornets are like, yo, we were getting a first-round pick. We could have traded Mark Williams for anything else. We did this, and then you idiots failed him. So I think they've got a pretty good case here. Anyway, speaking of Mark Williams, he and LaMelo sat out today as well after playing yesterday in that Lakers game. And, Mark Williams is reconditioning after getting on a million different planes and flying back and forth from LA to Charlotte. But then the other one about LaMelo is that his dad, LeVar Ball, who I don't know, it's balling season.
It's balling season.
He had his foot amputated as a bloody side effect to a medical condition. So, like, prayers up for LeVar. For all the crap we've given him over the years, like that dude, his sons are wildly successful. LaMelo out there. Lonzo took a game-winning shot today. Missed it, but still. LaMelo crushing it. Lonzo is back and actually playing basketball again. Jello, out of absolute nowhere, is a successful rapper. Like, that's awesome. So, hopefully the Ball family is all good. All right, let's fly through these game wraps from today. Game wraps. Right, as I mentioned, we're no longer sort of going to dig into all the games specifically. Very similar to what we've sort of done on Mondays. Each and every day, we're kind of basically going to hit on the games, anything of note, bang it out, but then mostly we're going to, focus on the awards and then the rest of the show. So, and then I wanted to focus more on previews at the end of the show because I feel like I spend so much time talking about what has already happened that then I never end up spending enough time on what I think is going to happen in some of these games and what it actually means for those ones, you know what I'm saying? So, as mentioned yesterday, Charlotte beat the Lakers 197. It was legitimately hilarious, wasn't it? You're like, how is this happening? And then LaMelo hits a massive shot late. LeBron James, I think I had the genius tweet. Old man and the good one, Jim. Yeah, genius, he says. Old man and the missed back-to-back game-winning threes. It's a weird podcast name, but here we are. And then the rest of the games today were absolutely nuts. We had the Pacers put a 50-point quarter on the Grizzlies to win 127-113. They absolutely ripped them up. It was crazy. The Grizzlies just like, what's going on? Jar couldn't hit a shot. Boom. Pacers now 31-23. Grizzlies 36-19. Celtics smashed. They got straight killed. Did the Sixers. That's right.
So he got straight killed.
124-104. Wasn't even that close. Absolutely just lit them up. Pritchard was unstoppable. Triple-double for Tatum. Embiid played. Maxey played. They just... Look, Embiid wasn't bad, but he's also not good. You know? That's a problem. He went 3 of 9 in 27 minutes. He got to the line 9 times because of all the flopping, so he ends up with a 15, 3 and 4. Poor George played, but that team is cooked. Sixers are done. They're 20 and 35. Celtics 40 and 16. The Magic had a big comeback over the Hawks. Thanks to Bala Bangara. 36 and 10 for him. Trae Young had 38. They're now 28 and 29. Big win for them in division and against a fellow play-in traveller at this point, looking to make the actual playoffs in the 6th seed. Hawks 26 and 30. Cleveland smashed Brooklyn 110-97. Bit of go the throw Jared Allen revenge, 16 and 20 rebounds for him. Nets dropped to 20 and 35. They put up a fight, but they just weren't very good, and then the Cavs just ran over the top of them. Cavs are 45 and 10, looking bloody good. The Knicks and the Bulls played an absolute ripper at MSG. Go watch this one; it's great. 113-111. The Knicks win it in the end. Josh Giddey was immense, 27 and 16. Karl Anthony Towns at 32 and 18. Lonzo has a chance at the end to nail a 3. Bong, no good. Kobe White dancing, prancing, just absolutely chancing, no good. Knicks at 37 and 18, looking pretty nice. The Bulls are 22 and 34. Look, as I talk about later in Nars, I really wish we'd showcase Cooper Flag so the Bulls could sort of see him and go, oh, that's what we're playing for. What are we doing? We can't win these games. The Clippers play the Bucks. Giannis sat down the stretch. This game was absolutely nutso. The Clippers sort of controlled it for a big chunk of it. They led 93-80 with 10 minutes 55 left. Bucks then outscored them 36-17 to finish the game and sat Giannis with 6 minutes 27. He didn't come back in. And they outscored them 20-9 without Giannis on there. So it's a huge win at home with Dame struggling with his shot, Giannis subbing out and just going, nah, I'm good. Boom. 116-110, they win it. Bucks now 30 and 24, feeling pretty good. They win the Doc Rivers Bowl against the Clippers, who are now 31 and 24. Zoobs wasn't out there at the end for a little bit too. He had 20, 15 and 4. Brook Lopez had a game-saving block. It was a sick game. He had 4 blocks in the end. The Nuggets outlasted the Hornets 129-115. A spirited performance from the Nugs without Mark Williams and LaMelo. 129-115. Nikola Jokic, hello, 29-17 and 9. The Spurs beat the Suns 120-109 as well. The Nugs are 37 and 19. Hornets are 14 and 40. Spurs, this was a crazy game. They just absolutely waxed the Suns there in the Moody Center in Austin. That's not in San Antonio, is it, Jim? No. Been to both places. Much prefer Austin, just saying. Fox had 26, 9, and 7. He was awesome. Royce O'Neal, 27. But wow, the Suns are just a mess. KD was good, 22 on 9 of 13 shooting, but Booker couldn't hit a shot. 1 of 9 for Taz Jones. 3 of 10 for Grayson Allen. They stink. The Spurs without Wemby absolutely cruise. It was nuts. It was a fun game, actually. 24 and 29 now, the Spurs. The Suns are only 26 and 29. They're tied in losses, the Spurs and the Suns. The Suns are rubbish, I'll tell you. And the Lakers are about to beat the Blazers 104-98 at the moment as we tape this one. LeBron James, absolutely crushing. He's got 38 and 8. Right. That'll get them to 33 and 21, and the Blazers drop to 23 and 33. Right, let's do an NBA Australia Pro performance of the day. Who was this one, Jim?
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Tell you what, we've got plenty of them, but Josh Giddey at MSG. He's going to pop up again later in the Australian Player Watch, of course, but he had 27, 16, and 4 at MSG. It was a tough one. They lose, but he was still awesome. 29, 17, and 9 for Jokic. Miles Bridges, that dude sucks, but he had 36, 13, and 7 in Denver. And then 36, 10, and 5 for Paolo Banchero, 38 and 6 for Trae Young. Big day for some of those dudes. Karl Anthony Towns with 32 and 18. That was very fun. Good times all around. All right. How about Spud of the night?
Spud, 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 it is Spud of the night.
Oh, yeah. So I mentioned that Lakers-Hornets game. Luka Doncic. Now, on the LA Lakers, I've told you before, I think that yellow on that pasty white Luka just doesn't look great. 5 of 18 he goes. It was brutal. 6 turnovers, 1 of 9 from downtown. They lose that game. It was hilarious. 1 of 7 today for D'Lo. 2 of 12 for Dame Lillard. I mentioned he couldn't find a shot. 3 of 14 for our beloved Dyson Daniels, the Great Barrier Thief. Could not steal a shot to go in today. 4 of 15 for Ja versus the Pacers, and 4 of 14 for Santi Aldama as well. Bit of a weird one. Just, I think I tweeted out, like, I don't think anyone touched a basketball during the All-Star break because everybody sucked today. There was, like, just a lot of bad shooting. So, and up until now, I don't believe anyone has actually nailed the magic number, which is pretty weird for a day with 9 games, but here we are. Let's have a look and just make sure that nobody's just gone and shot Jim's favorite numbers. I'm going to say no. Oh, well. You get that on the big jobs sometimes, don't you? Maybe on the weekend we'll get one. All right, how about a bit of an old mate, no mates?
Old mate, no mates.
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 Who's got no mates today? Bobby Portis' assistant. Jeez, what was that? What was that sound? Oh, it was you being thrown under the bus, Bobby Portis' assistant. Jeez. Rough as guts. And how about De'Aaron Fox? He's like, all right, I'm going to hitch my little red wagon to Victor Wembanyama. He rocks up and Wemby's like, oh, my shoulder hurts. And Fox is like, oh, wait. I left Sacramento for this? Oh, we're not even going to make the playoffs. I could have just stayed in Sacramento. Tough one. Pantsing of the night. This is a collective one for all of the Philadelphia 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6s because they got absolutely smashed by Luke Cornett, a.k.a. Larry Bird Cornett today. Kevin McHale Cornett. It was absolutely, he was dunking on everybody. He turned into LeBron for a second. Like dribbles through the lane, tomahawk, yam. And the Sixers like, oh God, what happened? Yeah, what happened to the Sixers indeed. Who was better than Lonzo Ball though?
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. We're coming for everybody.
Coming for everybody. Prayers up for LeVar. Love him. Peyton Pritchard, absolute weapon. One of those Boston exciting whites. 28 points. 8 of 15 from downtown and 5 assists. He was absolutely unreal. What about the Magic tweet of the week? Through every season of life, you've been my greatest blessing. After 40 plus years, I'm still in awe of you and thank God every day that I get to call you mine. It's my love cookie. Happy Valentine's Day. Love. Aw, Magic, you old softie. Thanks, Magic. And finally, Dickhead of the Week.
Dickhead of the Week.
In a surprise twist, the Draymond Green Award for Dickhead of the Week this week is awarded to Draymond Green. Yeah. Basically, hey, we shouldn't have these young dudes out there being all-stars. They don't deserve it. I don't know who's responsible for ruining All-Star, but it's bad. And it's like 100% the banana meme. We're all trying to find the guy who did this. It was you, LeBron. It was you and Draymond and all these jokers who didn't take this seriously enough and completely ruined All-Star to the point where Draymond should never have been an All-Star and was an All-Star, and here we are. Great job, everybody. All right, let's take a quick break. Be back with some yeah-nahs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're listening
Australia.
to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
All right, time for some yeah-nahs. I'll tell you what, the All-Star break got people fired up. So that was fun. But how about, I'll tell you what got people fired up. Nico Harrison, Brett Pierce, Jim. He asks, Nico needs to grow a spine. Having fans kicked out because they think he should be fired is just cowardly. Own your decision to make one of the worst trades in history or resign. Yes, I love this. The Nico Harrison attack on Dallas fans, and then rolling like random Rick Weltzian, front of us types out there going, "Oh yeah, we really didn't expect this sort of level of vitriol from the fans." How? It's the face of your franchise. He's 25. He could win the MVP. You took him to the finals last year, and you trade him to the Lakers, and you're like, "Oh nah, man. Everybody will probably be fine with this." What are you doing, idiots? It's insane. And then kicking fans out for voicing their frustration is the exact opposite of what you should be doing. You need to own decisions like this, right? You got to go, look, we made a decision which we thought was in the best interest of this franchise, this team, and we understand that fans might not be on board with it. We hope that in the long run, we are proven to be correct. Don't kick fans out, you idiots. What are you doing, Dallas? Get a hold of yourselves. Right, other All-Star gears. Benny W. Love me some Benny W. Benny Watts. Jim, I know you're working hard on making All-Star Weekend better. And it got me thinking. We always love when old legends roll out, especially in a throwback jersey. That's right. But the issue of injury is always an issue. This is the one I talked about last week, right? The Legends game, etc. It's just hard. Because you're just going to be having dudes blowing ACLs, Achilles, and they're in their 50s, and you're like, that's not what we want, right? So Benny's got an idea. What if we have Steph at one end and then 5 legends at the other with a rack of balls each trying to out-chef the chef? They chuck up 5 balls each, minimizing injury, and we all get to boo that wanker Reggie Miller because they would definitely put him in. Yes, they would. Or tag team Steph with Caitlin versus the retirement home team. I love this. I absolutely love this idea. Rip out some previous 3-point comp winners and put them up against the old dudes. I reckon the old blokes would take it so serious because they got nothing to lose and everything to prove with just one rack of balls. You get to roll out 5 old dudes. It's more enough to bring plenty of sentimental tears to your eye. This is an absolutely cracking idea because 3-point shooting, what's the last thing to go? It's your shot. Remember in Blue Chips? Remember Blue Chips? You got Bob Cousy out there still knocking in free throws. It's insane. I love that gear. So if you've got some previous 3-point winners, you know they're going to try to out-chef Chef Curry. And I don't think they will. I love this idea because you know it's going to get their competitive juices flowing. Everybody gets to bask in the nostalgia of All-Star Weekends past. I love this idea. Great one, Benny. He's also got another one. All-Star Weekend is essentially a basketball showcase. Why not give us a look at what's coming, dropping the 2 top college prospects in the skills challenge and open them up to the whole NBA community? Love this. This is great. It's like, this is what you guys are playing for, right? So here's Cooper Flag in the skills challenge. Oh my God. And you know, like 5 teams like, oh, what are we doing? Like Brooklyn are just like sitting everybody. Everybody's injured. It's like, we've been tanking completely wrong. Chicago just suddenly starts tanking. I love this idea. Like putting them out there. He adds, I'd love to have seen a fully raw Wemby 2 years ago, or why there's hype for Cooper Flag. Just give us a little taste. Is it PTSD from Krista Leighton on the Dream Team maybe? Yeah, nah, I just don't think anyone's thought about this. I love that. And I sort of talked about this before, right? Like the NCAA doesn't owe the NBA anything, and nor does the NBA. But if you want the college game to grow and like try to steal some of those NBA eyeballs for the rest of this season, it's a good one for the NCAA. And the NBA also gets to go, hey, this is going to be the next dude. Check it out. Love that. McKeegan. Love me some Brad McKeegan. He writes, hey, Jimmy was thinking if you want to fix All-Star, you are right. You're right. Money is the way, but you're coming from the wrong angle. Hang on. I'm never wrong. Players have lots of money, so more doesn't get them going, but taking it off them gets their knickers in a twist. Ooh. Put a buyout on the All-Star game and the skill/dunk/3-point comp. The earlier they pull out, the cheaper it will be, and it'll make that player look like a real tight ass and ruin their public perception. Additionally, if LeBron wants to pull out a day off, he needs to cough up major dollars, and then all that money goes to fund the prize pot that will go to players' chosen charities for the stat payments. Oh, love this. Combine that with the LED screen jam style with cash shots as well as double point zones. The game will be hectic and all happening. This is great. I think this idea, and I think this is what, I love the buy-in, the payout sort of thing. LeBron, it's like we've got 24 All-Star spots. As I've said time and time again, those 24 spots have to be filled by the All-Star rosters. 3-point comp, skills comp, dunk comp, boom. LeBron, you don't want to do that? Cool, you got to pay out. That goes into the prize pot money. Love this. And you've also got to nominate who replaces you. It's got to be Bronny. Good stuff, McKeegan. This is good. And then finally, Matty O. This is a good one too. Keeps being brought up. If you've watched that Netflix series as well, Court of Gold, they're like, the last 6 NBA MVPs have gone to people outside the USA. And it's like, yeah, that's true. It's because basketball is a global sport. If you didn't really already realize that, because what are you? Vic? Come on. Matty O points out, you and Hammer touched on this as well. So if you haven't listened to Wednesday's show, of course, with Hammer, there you go. If Kyrie wins MVP, does the Aussie flag or the USA flag go up? Embiid with the Cameroon flag, but just one gold with the USA. It is an interesting point. I think Kyrie, he has the Australian flag in his NBA.com bio. So, because that's where he was born. So I think an Australian flag goes up if a Kyrie MVP season had ever happened. At least it would have now. But yeah, I don't know what would have happened a couple of years ago. But I think that's right. I think as Hammer sort of hit on, right? Like opinions have changed. It's like, yeah, he was born in Australia. He's an Australian. Chuck up the Australian flag. Nice. All right, what about the unpopular opinion of the day?
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me, look at me, look at me. I mean, I hit on this at the start, but I don't think it's a really bad thing that Wemby sits out the rest of this season. Like, it is bad, obviously, because we don't get to watch more Wemby. But the Spurs, like, this was the year they get De'Aaron Fox. They get that little bit incrementally better. The strange thing is they don't have Pop still, right? He's had his stroke. They've got their, like, fill-in coach. They're sort of, like, fine. And, like, maybe this push would have come in the last third of the season. But at the same time, you maybe just go, well, at least we've, like, seriously, this is also the thing you don't want to let get worse, as I said at the start of the show. So it's probably just as well you let him get his body right after the rigors of, like, 1.5 NBA seasons, basically, or basically a full NBA season he's played. And just sort of go, right, you had the Olympics as well. It's a lot of hype. Now you've just got a nice straight runway of getting right. And Wemby's probably going to win the MVP next year. Just saying. Jeez. All right, finally, a bit of Outback Takehouse. We already sort of gave you one early, but let's just do it. It's Friday at Outback, and you know what that means? Oh, yeah. 4-for-1 icy cold TGIF Foster's Lager oil drum cans. They're as big as your bloody head, and they go down fast. It's the thirst quencher, crusher, whatever. It's Australian for beer. I'll tell you what, they're pretty bloody good. And today's Flame Grill take, you got one earlier, we're giving you another one. Norm Powell is the exact opposite of what the most improved player should be. It's like, yes, they just finally gave him a green light and a point guard. Give me Denny Avdija or Dyson Daniels as your most improved where they've actually gotten a bit of a chance to shine. They've grabbed it and their games have gotten bigger and better. Those are your most improved players, not bloody Norm Powell. Only at Outback. It's not a bad Flame Grill take. Righto, now let's go. With all that done, we'll go have a chat with cousin Angus. That's right, as I mentioned at the top, Angus Glover of the South East Melbourne Magic Phoenix. Or the South East Melbourne Phoenix if you're, not old like me. Semi-finals coming up against the Illawarra Hawks. It's going to be an absolute ripper. I'll be there with the squid for the Melbourne game. What's that, Sunday, March 2. So if you're going to come along, say g'day. I'm the one with the big red beard. Probably wearing a Sonics hat because I bought a Phoenix hat. And guess what? They're like, we had to refund it, Jim. We couldn't have sold it to you. We had none in stock. I'm like, why is it on the website? What are you doing? Anyway, but Angus Glover and myself having a big old chat about everything to do with the Phoenix and an awesome NBL final series coming up right after. Let's hear from Hammer.
This is Shane Hill, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
All right, as I promised at the top of the show, we welcome on a very special guest on NBA Australia, a man who's got, more knees than I've had beers, which is a lot. And I'll tell you what, he's done his ACL bloody 3 different times. It's absolute chaos, but now he's back. He's crushing it. He's a 2-time NBL champion, of course. He's the pride of the Gong. It's Red Velvet himself, the Ginger Ninja. It's cousin Angus. Angus Glover, G-Love in the special sauce. Angus, how you feeling? What's going on?
I'm doing well, mate. Thanks for having me on the show and looking forward to talking.
Hell yeah. I mean, this is an awesomely weird time for, so you're South East Melbourne Phoenix, of course. Like, you've had these insane play-in games and the qualifiers and eliminations, and you've made it through to the Final Four. And then everything stops dead because of the FIBA break. I mean, so you get like a little bit of a break, which is probably good for you guys. Whereas like Illawarra, United, teams like that who have like qualified ages ago now, it feels like we've got to be sitting there twiddling their fingers. So what do you do in this break? What do you do, man?
Yeah, it's weird, really weird, obviously. No basketball games. Obviously, you got a couple Boomers games to watch, which is nice to actually watch some basketball during the 2 weeks off. And obviously, the NBA is still going, so that's, they're in their All-Star break as well, so not too much basketball's being played during this time. So, yeah, I guess, just trying to obviously work out and do team trainings and all that kind of stuff and prepare for Illawarra the best we can, but also just away from the court, like playing golf and going and hanging out, having some coffees, just, taking your mind away from it a little bit and, just trying to relax a little bit and enjoy time off as best we can, really. I
feel like most of you guys are recuperating from Slam and Sam McKinnon's wall-torching halftime rev-up you got in that Adelaide game, eh?
Yeah. It was a bit of a weird one, obviously. Like, we knew we weren't playing well, and, obviously, the coaches actually took their time coming into the team meeting room. We have a players' room, a coaches' room, and a full meeting room that we all will have our pre-game, halftime, all that kind of stuff in. And we're talking to ourselves, and normally the coaches are in by this time and we're still like, what's going on? Like, we're about to get up absolutely rinsed. And Josh kind of took the approach of just saying, like, that's the worst half we played all year. Like, he didn't say too much, if I'm being completely honest. And players were still talking in that time, and then cameras got thrown out, and it was pretty much just Sam left to give a big rant, and that was the firecracker that kind of lit us up to go out there in the second half and perform.
I love that. We actually had Shane Hill on yesterday, and he's like, it felt like it was probably one of the old Barry Barnes just light ups. And Sam would have copped a bunch of times in his career, and he's like finally being able to whip that into shape. And the double thing is he's also your coach on the Taranaki Airs. Like, you're copping it both ways. What's going on?
Yeah, I need to try and make sure we don't play bad in Taranaki so I don't cop another spray like that. But no, honestly, it's something we needed. And, for us to come out in that second half and perform the way we did, clearly what Sammy did worked. And I think it's really, really good, though. We have different personalities as coaches as well. Like, I think Josh is more of that calm, obviously energetic, as everyone sees on the sideline, but a bit more calm as Malik tries to get my attention. I think it's just he's that calm, energetic guy. And then you've got Sammy, who is obviously very serious and, well, not very serious. He's very much a joker around training and off the floor and stuff. But come game time, he's very serious. And obviously that halftime spray, he's just let it rip. But I think we got a good bunch of different personalities through the coaching staff and through the playing group as well.
I'm just surprised. I was there with my 6-year-old son, and I'm surprised we didn't hear it in the crowd. Like, this is what I was disappointed about. I mean, it was an incredible game, like, because it was so just like weird and disjointed in that first half. And then obviously it all just clicks for you guys, and then Adelaide just can't hit a shot, and it comes out like DJ had gastro and all this sort of stuff. And you're like, what? It was one of the most insane basketball games I've been at, to sort of like, especially in that sort of environment, right? The pressure of like a knockout game to get into the last of the semi spots, and here we are, and you actually pulled it off. So coming from Sydney, where you've gone, back to back, and you've got to be sitting there going, this is now just what I do, right? Just win. I'm Angus Glover. I'm just a winner.
I think obviously you got to have a good group of guys to get to a semi-final series, and we've obviously got that here. Obviously, it wasn't looking too good early on, but I think the group, it shows how resilient this group is, and it shows, I think, how talented we really are. And obviously, I can't remember what our record is since Josh came in, but I think it's top 2 or whatever it is. And obviously the job's not done, and we want to get to another grand final series. And we want to get to a grand final series. I would like to get to another grand final series as an individual, but my whole focus is obviously this Illawarra series right now. And obviously we've had a lot of success throughout this group, obviously with a couple of Sydney guys winning championships as well. But it's a different group that we've all experienced winning a championship with, and it's going to be exciting to hopefully try and go for another one this year.
So you can be honest with us, Angus. Like, you were sitting there going, come on, just give me Sydney. Give me Sydney in this knockout game. You're been watching that Adelaide-Sydney game, just like just going, come on. I just want a little bit of revenge. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Honestly, you have to beat everyone to win the championship anyway, so it didn't really matter to me. But obviously, you always mark in your calendar your ex-team, right? Yeah. So for me, got to experience that 3 times throughout the regular season, and we didn't get the job done in any of those games. So, I'm not going to lie. I wanted to play them in the play-in more than Adelaide, but like I said, you have to beat everyone to win the championship anyway. So, obviously, it went Adelaide's way, but I really wanted to get one over Sydney just to say I've beaten them now and can move that chapter on type thing. But it was Adelaide, and now we just got to try and go through Illawarra.
I love it.
My other ex-team
exactly,
as well.
It's your other ex-team, which is pretty awesome. Like, I mean, this would have been just like one more thing to hang over Sean Bruce, right? Like, that's all it would have been, I reckon. You're like, hey, Prawn, what do you reckon about this? It's your ass. I got you. But
I love Brucey, but it would have been good to get one over him for sure.
So going back to the gong for this series, I mean, how exciting is this? Like, an actual series, another team for you for, playing on the Phoenix this time against a Hawks team that is awesome, like top of the table, fantastic all year. You've got Kel, you've got Harvey, you've got Davo Hickey. Dudes like this, I mean, how do you even approach this? And personally, like, going back to the gong for you, like, is this awesome? Like, are you sort of like, oh God, I've got to show up, show out, or else I'm going to look like an idiot? Like, what do you do?
Nah, I think, like I said, just enjoy these 2 weeks that we can build into it, obviously. So enjoy the process of getting to the game, getting to the series, and then, obviously, I want to win the whole thing, and I want to win against Illawarra and then go on to win whoever we play in the grand final. But at the same time, if if we are to lose the series, I would love to see Illawarra win, being the fact that it's my hometown as well. So, yeah, but obviously I'm going out there to end their season. But like you said, they've got a star-studded team. They've got their backcourt is an All-NBL first team. Sam Frolling's an All-NBL second team. Almost could have been a first team guy as well. And then you got Davo off the bench, who most improved candidate, sixth man of the year candidate. So yeah, they're loaded and they're playing some really good basketball. And I think one thing Justin Tatum does really well is instill confidence in all these guys from 1 to 12. And that shows obviously when they go out there and play. So we know we've got our hands full for that series, but for us, it's about almost focusing on ourselves, even though there's so much scouting that goes on in every series in a final series in this league. A lot of it, honestly, for us is just we know if we can take care of ourselves defensively, picking the ball up 94 feet, getting after them in the half court, playing with energy, rebounding, we know we can get out and run and play with pace, which is obviously what we want to do. They want to play with pace too. So it's going to be a fast-paced series, I feel like, but it's going to be the team, I think, that locks down defensively and rebounds well is going to come out on top.
Nice one. I mean, it's like your Phoenix team is all like it's been like such a fascinating story this year as well, right? Like the coaching swap to Josh. I mean, losing Derek for big swathes of time. Matt Hurt is like what a top 3 MVP candidate in the end. Like it's just like a really wild story. Like talk about like pits and troughs and a roller coaster ride, and you're finally in a semi-final series. What sort of like do you think is special about this team? Because I've heard it, sort of referred to as like you've got Sobes, you've got Hurt, you've got D. Walt, but it sort of feels like there's just the parts of the Phoenix, they'll beat you in some way on that day and you won't see it coming. Like it's almost because it's this sort of collective approach. Like it's not so superstar heavy. Like you feel like Matt Hurt's putting up massive numbers, but at the same time, it always feels like it's in the flow of the game. Like it's never just like, oh, we need to get the big fella going sort of thing. Like, what do you reckon it is?
Honestly, I think Josh has preached since day one, just we do it by committee. And it's like what you just said with Matt. Like he's a top 3 MVP candidate, and he's never gone out to try and score 40. He just does it in the flow of the game, like you said. Same thing goes for D-Walt, for Sobes, for whoever's hot that night. Yeah, plays around for him, but it's all in the flow of the game. There's no ISO ball about it. There's no selfishness, whatever it is. And I think you're seeing everyone happy for everyone else's success as well. You've seen, I think in the first quarter on when we played Adelaide, whenever it is, feels like an eternity ago now, but we've played 10 players in that first quarter, and people might sit there at home and go, why are you playing 10 in the first quarter? But for us, it works. And for us, because we're so happy for everyone else's success, it just translates into when you come back in, you want to pick up where they left off. So, there's no selfishness about this group at all. And regardless of who's hot, we don't care. It's someone different every single night, as Josh has said multiple times this year. And yeah, obviously come a final series, you put a bit more emphasis on your star guys, and that's going to happen. But yeah, it's just about everyone else trying to chip in and play their role as well as best they can. And they're the teams that normally come out on top, where their stars succeed and the role players really exceed in their role.
I like it. And look, for me, all I care about is representation. So I thank you for doing the Lord's work of being out there and representing for all the gingers out there who, I don't know, might not be as athletically gifted as yourself there, Angus. So this is, we very much appreciate it. Speaking of being, I mean, what is the best ginger nickname you've ever had? Like, do you have like a ginger-related one that you've ever copped?
When I was a kid, my dad was a member at, we used to live in Jervis Bay when I was a kid, and it was like a golf club / lawn bowls club. And yeah, all the old heads that were playing lawn bowls would always call me Bluey.
Love that.
I liked Bluey. But yeah, I mean, I really only just get like Ranger or something. Like, it doesn't faze me. I like it. I think it's unique and something different, and it's always used in the right way anyway, so it doesn't really faze me.
It better be all top level. Would go absolutely ape. That's how it rolls.
Yeah. The only time that kind of I actually laughed about it, it was actually funny. It was my rookie year in the NBL. I was at the free throw line. We're down 40 to Perth in Perth, and I'm at the free throw line and the whole stadium's chanting "Rangers suck." And I actually kind of giggled because I'm sitting there going, like, I know they're just trying to put me off for the free throws, but yeah, I found it pretty funny.
You're in their head. I love that. You might be down 40, but you're taking up all this real estate in their head now, Angus. I love that.
So,
That's awesome.
I found it funny, and I'm 99% sure that year they had a redhead on their team.
There you
as well. Yeah, but no, it's cool, and just trying to fly the flag for the redheads.
Love that. Yeah, I mean that's what we refer to you as Cousin Angus on the Supercoach show, and you did us proud on the for the Supercoach all season as well. So we appreciate that. I mean, we mentioned the NBA All-Star break happened over the weekend. Did you manage to catch the game at all? Well, the games are.
Caught a little bit of the first two games, like the semifinals, whatever they called it. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I think it was just a bit too much. I guess, like, obviously, because I'm a basketball player, I just want to see basketball.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
A lot going on, like Kevin Hart and all that. And I think it's great for TV as well at the same time. But, as a basketballer, I prefer just to watch the basketball. And I think, I can't remember who said it, but one of the guys in their press conference after the game said there was just a lot of sitting and standing around as well. So, yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to kind of divulge, I guess, because they've changed the format so many times, and I grew up on the classic East v West, and I don't know. I feel like as players as well, it's a bit of fun for them. Like, it's a 3-day event, and then on top of 3 or 4 day event, and then on top of that, there's a couple of days after that where there's no games as well. It's their little mini fever break, I guess you could call it, and people want to see them compete, but as an athlete, I do understand that it's about having fun for them. They're also trying to have a bit of a break themselves, so I do get it from that standpoint. And I would love to see them compete. I'd love to see, like, one-on-one maybe introduced into the All-Star weekend or something with a bit of prize money to see who would come out on top in one-on-one. But yeah, at the same time, like, I get it's their little break, and let them have a bit of fun. But yeah.
How do you reckon I mean, every time this sort of happens as well, we get, the NBL All-Star, idea sort of thrown around again. How do you think that'd ever work back in the NBL?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be heavily against it, if I'm being completely honest, and now I'm leaning way more towards let's get it back in. Let's try and do it in a fever break potentially, or something like that, and maybe that fever break in November, I think it is, we have. Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be a good idea. Have a bit of basketball play during that, and obviously it's. I don't know if we're allowed to do it during the fever break. I don't know, but I just think it would be a cool idea. I don't know if you do like a conference system. I don't know if you do it like imports versus locals. I don't know if you do next stars, and I don't know how it would work. I think it would be pretty cool. Even if you would do a whole weekend, obviously the dunk contest, 3-point contest. I personally would go imports v locals, and then I would also do like a next stars versus an under 25, say.
Ooh, like that.
Locals thing. So I think that would be pretty cool to see. And I mean, the fans are everything I see on Twitter and stuff like that. The fans would love it back, but it would have to obviously work. I think obviously you see how the NBA is trending in terms of people are bagging it and stuff like that, and it's not the best basketball to watch right now. But I feel like the NBL is in a really good spot to where it can work.
Yeah, you just got to make sure you get it right, and that's how it works.
Yeah, I think the big thing is just get it right.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do you have an NBA team? Like, who are you going for the back half of the season? We've got a third of the season left. What are you vibing?
So I followed Steph ever since he got drafted to Golden State. So I'm going to stick with Golden State as long as Steph's there. So obviously I just love how he's gone about his business as a pro, and how he shoots the ball is unbelievable. His mindset, everything like that. So I've just followed Steph ever since, and Golden State. But before that, it was Kobe Bryant's my favorite all-time player. So I'm guessing if Steph retires, I don't think he's going to take over Kobe for me. So I'll probably go back to the Lakers. So that's kind of my two teams, I guess. So we'll see how they go.
I feel like we've just nailed this then as the red Mamba, the ginger Mamba. Let's go. Come on. This is low-hanging fruit, Angus. Like we're knocking this one out of the park. I mean, the Warriors get Jimmy Butler. It gives their team like an entirely sort of new sort of approach to, oh my God, we can get free throws? that Draymond's not giving away. Fantastic. Look, this is going to be awesome. So I'm fascinated for that has completely changed the complexion of that team, right? So I'm fascinated to see how it goes in this last third, how they can sort of get up in the West standing. So no doubt you'd be, hoping that they win the title. But have you ever bugged Bogut for a Curry intro?
I would love that. I mean, we did get a couple of videos sent to us when we were leading into the grand final series, both years actually, and I think Steph was one of them. So
there you go.
Obviously a meet and greet, but I mean, it's something I would always love to do. But I think too, like, even their confidence that they've got ever since the Jimmy Butler trade, like I think Draymond came out and said, like, he goes, I think we're going to win the championship. And then he goes, no, hold on, we are going to win it. So it's just the confidence of getting Jimmy Butler in has changed the complexity of that team. And I think, maybe I should hit Bogues up for a Curry intro maybe. So now we'll see how it goes.
Just saying. And I like this as well. Like Draymond has notoriously never said anything untrue either. So,
Yeah, Draymond loves speaking his mind, but I mean, I actually respect that about him. Like, he's never afraid to say what he thinks, and doesn't really care what other people think, which I think is actually a good trait to have.
Nice. All right, well, Angus, this has been awesome. Best of luck for this semi-final series against the Hawks. It is hilarious that you go back to the Gong. I'll be there for the Melbourne game. I did manage, at the behest of my 6-year-old, to make sure we got tickets. We've been there for the last 2 games against Adelaide. It was awesome. He is just absolutely frothing over it. And I'm like, I don't want to get punched in the head to be woken up by a 6-year-old going, Dad, you missed out on tickets. Bang! So because I'm pretty sure that's how he's going to roll. He's a little bit ginger, so he's got that anger inside him too, you see.
Oh, yeah. Hothead.
Exactly. So I can't wait to see this game 2 down here. That's going to be unreal. But this entire series, this entire NBL final series should be an absolute cracker. So best of luck and thanks for jumping on NBA Australia.
No, all good. Thanks for having me.
This is Matthew Delvedova, and you're listening to NBA Australia.
All right, time for NBA Australia's Australian Player Watch for a big Friday. February 21, that's right. Bunch of Aussies in action. A couple of others who actually didn't make the cut, which was a bit sad, but you get that on the big jobs. But how about Josh Giddey at MSG? This was awesome. Talked about it at length in NBA Australia. He loves MSG. They lose 113, 111 in overtime, but he was incredible. He's already had 3 triple-doubles in 4 games there before today. Averages a 20, 10, and 9 after today as well. He ends up with 27 points, 11 of 18 from the floor, 4 of 6 from downtown, 1-on-1 at the stripe, 16 rebounds. His career high, amazingly enough, is actually 18. 4 assists, a steal, and a block. Very nice from Giddey up. Just have him play in MSG all the time. I think he might be the next combination of Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. Just saying. Now, that was a fantastic game by Gids. Loves MSG. Weapon. Tough Aldo. But at the same time, Chicago, what are you doing? They don't need to win. Box Hill Benny. Ben Simmons was very solid again for the Clippers. They lose to Milwaukee in the end, but Benny plays 20 minutes. Goes 3 of 3 from the floor. Ends up with 6 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. And again, very interestingly, 0 turnovers. Looking very nice in that Clippers uniform. And just with the pressure off, is excelling. So you like to see that. Patty Mills on that same team. He's now out there voicing the NBL commercials, but he didn't play in this game either. He's a vibes guy. That's fine. Outside of that, we had Josh Green. He played yesterday against the Lakers. He played 34 minutes. He had 4 points. Rough shooting night. 2 of 6 from the floor, 0 of 3 from downtown with 3 rebounds, 2 steals, an assist, and 4 turnovers and 3 fouls. It was absolute chaos from our man Greeny. And then today, up against the Denver Nuggets. They actually pushed Denver pretty well. Made them earn it down the stretch in that fourth quarter. But Josh Green played 27 minutes. This time the shot was on. He ends up with 19 points. Second leading scorer for the Hornets today. 19 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. He goes 7 of 13 from the floor and 5 of 8 from 3. That was awesome. Absolute weapon. +1 in a game that they lose by 14. Josh Green, you legend. He's doing it all. Dyson Daniels, the Great Barrier Thief, still my pick for Defensive Player of the Year and Most Improved Player. In the loss to Orlando today, he played 34 minutes, couldn't hit a shot, went 3 of 14 from the floor, 0 of 3 from deep, 10 points, but he had 9 rebounds, 4 assists. There we go. 3 steals to go 2 fouls. A bit of a tough one as they got overcome by Orlando. Johnny Furphy got out there for 2 minutes of run at the end of their win over Memphis for the Pacers. He just picked up 1 foul. Nothing else. There you go. Luke Travers also played 3 minutes in the win over Brooklyn for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He went over 2 from the floor, but he did have 2 rebounds. So that maybe offset his 0 points. But either way. And then, of course, today, later on in the game against the Lakers, the Portland Trailblazers duo of Do-Up, Bob, Do-Up Reith, the Great Barrier Reef, and our man, Aussie Matty T, Matisse Tybal, both did not play coaches' decisions. Bit of a rough one, but, I mean, when the Blazers have got Robert Williams, Time Lord, actually available, he's still backing up Donovan Clingan, so when Robert Williams is actually resting, we'll probably see a little bit more do-up as DeAndre Ayton is out for a little bit. So there you go. That is your Australian Player Watch for Friday. Big weekend ahead for the Aussies. Stay tuned to NBA Australia on Monday for a big wrap of all of it. All right, time for a very quick Andrew Gay's Great Mamba Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence. Andrew Gay's Great Mamba. Outstanding achievement. Very quickly, Victor Wembanyama, just to show you how good he has been. I'll tell you what, he's already taken 403 threes this year and blocked 176 shots. No player in NBA history has finished a season with that. And Wemby did it before the bloody All-Star break. Not bad, not bad. All right, quick Paddy Mills Game Day, Baller Game Day Twitter check-in. What has Paddy been up to? Let's have a look. Paddy has been... nothing from Paddy. Let's check quickly. Ball the Pat. That's just his thank you, Utah. What about Jock Landale? We've got a new story. Let's go. Oh, there we go. He's hard at work. Get out of the way, Jabari Smith Jr. They're all getting cornered in practice and running into each other as they're doing drills. That's a good one, Jock. All right, let's do it. Let's do some game previews for the weekend. Game previews. Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jim. How's it all going? Yeah, not bad. It was a good chat with Angus, wasn't it? I enjoyed it. But remember, you can find all of the daily NBA Australia picks, vibes over at Dabble. Sign up using the link in the show description or in the social links that we share out. Use the code NBA Australia if that's your thing. But all of our picks, every single one that we'll be doing, will be in there as well. We'll have our daily best multis and same game multis as well. So if that's your thing, it's all there. Tell them NBA Australia sent you. Use the code NBA Australia over at Dabble. But basically, to get there, use the link in the show description or on the Instagram and Facey stories. Right. We have some really interesting games this weekend. It's like the NBA's finally going, wait, football's over. We're not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid anymore, Daddy. I'm not afraid. Hooray. We've got Memphis taking Orlando tomorrow. It's a weird one. Orlando looked okay at times today against the Hawks. The Grizzlies just look a bit out of sorts, but I feel like the Grizzlies will be a little bit too good, so let's go the Grizzlies minus 2.5 there. The Grizzlies, look, they can't drop games like they did today against the Pacers. You're in the West. It's an absolute dogfight the rest of the way, right? And Orlando need to be on the come-up. It feels like Orlando is still scratching at stuff. Like that Atlanta game today was just that little bit sort of wobbly, little bit janky, and they just sort of put it together, and Paolo's like, all right, boys, jump on my back. Franz was very good as well. I feel like Memphis's defense might be just a little bit too tough for Orlando, though, versus, you know, the Atlanta defense, which is Dyson and very little else. Let's go the Grizz. Then we have New York versus Cleveland. That's a fun game, isn't it? The Cavs are 8.5-point favorites, which is pretty crazy. But at the same time, it just makes sense. Because the Cavs are dominant at the moment. I like the depth of the Cavs, but I feel like the Knicks defensively could probably hang with Cleveland a little bit. As long as they get all their dudes playing, and they probably will. I'll take the Knicks plus 8.5. As long as they have Cat, that should be a fun game. Milwaukee, it's Algonquin for the good land. It was today because they beat the Clippers in a dock bowl. The Wizards are 7.5-point home underdogs. I don't know if the Bucks risk Giannis. I'm going to take the Wiz plus 7.5 just because they've played pretty tough. You know that Kyle Kuzma will be after a bit of revenge. But without Bobby Portis, their depth, if Giannis doesn't play, gets really squirrely very quickly. The Wiz, they might be able to hang with them. They'll still lose, but let's go. Miami at Toronto. The key part there is at Toronto. I'm going to go the Raptors. They're just fun at home. They're a much better team at home. And if they've got their dudes, it's going to be a tough one for Miami. Detroit at San Antonio. And I'm going to take the Pistons. Spurs are very good today, of course. But I think without Wemby, you've got Kay Cunningham trying to contain him with De'Aaron Fox, etc. Jalen Duren on the inside. The Pistons' defensive woes will probably be a bit tough, but it's only a 3.5 point line. Let's go the Pistons, especially with the Spurs on a back-to-back. Pelicans, Dallas. Fascinating game. You got Zion presumably for the Pels still. I mean, Dallas. Who knows actually who's going to suit up and who's going to slow down your man Zion at any point. They're 5.5 point underdogs. I'm probably going to take New Orleans despite not having CJ, despite not having, obviously they traded Spindles Ingram. The Mavs are kind of feisty, but 5.5 just sort of sits a bit weirdly. But I guess the big question is who's going to score on the Pelicans? We'll have to go with Dallas. The Pelicans are just weird. Minnesota, Houston. This is also a really, really fun game. The Rockets are 4.5 point favorites at home. I'm going to take them because the Wolves, I can't trust them. I can trust the Houston defense a bit. I cannot trust the Wolves in the least. OKC go to Utah. That's a fun one. We'll go OKC pretty easily. 14.5 point favorites. Yeah, they should do that one pretty easily, right? I think with SGA after the break, I think they'll have watched all these teams today. I reckon their role players get into this one and smash the Yaz. Golden State, Sacramento is the final one for Saturday. That is a really fun game. Warriors with Jimmy. We talked about it with Angus. They're suddenly able to get to the line. We're going to go the Warriors -1.5 in Sacramento. They're not afraid. Then we go to the head-to-head. So Sunday, Phoenix at Chicago. 1993 NBA Finals rematch. The Suns looked very out of sorts today. But the way Chicago played against the Knicks was pretty heartening if you're a Bulls fan, but they still lost. That's just great tanking. I just don't know if they've got enough to beat Phoenix with KD. Give me the Suns. Brooklyn go to Philly. If Embiid plays, Brooklyn probably don't have enough to get by George, Maxey, and Embiid. But Philly are also a mess. But I'll take Philly head-to-head. Denver host the Lakers. That's an awesome game. Russell Westbrook out for a bit of revenge. I like Denver in that. They were very, very, very good in that fourth quarter today. They sort of woke up and went, whapow. Houston at Utah. Houston should be too good for the Yaz. It's a soft J. And Charlotte go to Portland. I think the Blazers have proven that they're very, very, very tough to beat, right? The Lakers get by them today, but it took sort of everything. They had to empty the clip. So I'll take the Blazers. And then Monday, we'll be back to wrap up all these games. The Knicks-Boston game at 5 a.m. How good is that? If you're a big Hoops fan, you better be waking up early. Just saying. So you better do it. Just bloody do it. I still like Boston there. With the Knicks having played against Cleveland and then on the road in Boston again, it's very tough. Fascinating matchup, though. Dallas Golden State. Woo! I'm going to go the Warriors. They're at home. Dallas, without Anthony Davis, I'm going to go back and forth on the rest of the season. We'll go Golden State. Clippers at Indy. Fascinating one. Pacers looked very, very good dismantling Memphis today. I'm going to go the Pacers in that. Clippers still a bit wobbly. Detroit, Atlanta, we'll go the Pistons because the Hawks are just a bit too much of a mess for me. Detroit just looks solid. Washington and Orlando, the Magic should be too good for the Wizards. It's a Harry Potter Bowl. You're a wizard, Harry. Good on your Magic. Let's go Orlando. Toronto host Phoenix. Phoenix on a back-to-back on the road. Again, I'm going to go Toronto at home. They're going to win these random games in the back half this season. And Messiah will end up having to sit everybody, but maybe a couple of weeks too late. So let's go Toronto on that one. Miami go to Milwaukee. I still like the Bucks there. A bit of Dame revenge, maybe. New Orleans host San Antonio. This one might be a bit squirrely for the Spurs, but I mean, we saw them win today. I think they can win that one too. Not all hope is lost for the Spurs, but it's almost all lost. Memphis, Cleveland. This game rocks. Cleveland at home against the length of Triple J and the rest of that Grizzlies team. I think the Cavs are a little bit too good. Let's go the Cavs. And then finally, OKC at Minnesota. Another cracker. SGA versus the Ant-Man. Until proven otherwise, I'm just going to go OKC. You've got Chet. You've got Hartenstein up against Gobert. I think they've just got too much shooting, too much talent, and too much defense. And there you go. So let's go OKC. And that'll do us for this week. We are back. We're back on deck on Monday for you. We'll have another interview in the middle of next week. A bunch of other guests popping on here and there throughout the rest of the season. That's going to be the plan. But as I said, so this was like, because we got the 20-minute odd Angus Glover interview. I'm going to try to keep these around 30 minutes each show. Let us know what you reckon, what you want to hear more of, what you want to hear less of. Just shout out. I'm always around. Hit us up on the old DMs. We'll be back on Monday, as mentioned. Make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, and YouTube, of course. Jump on the YouTube. Check out the Hammer interview from Wednesday, the one with Angus now. It's all real good. Make sure you're in there and commenting and all that sort of stuff. Get around NFL Straya, myself and Gaz. We're about to do the Super Bowl wrap, which is good. Check out Cricket Today podcast, AFL Today, which is back and flying with all our AFL preseason. And hold all tickets for your GGs. Chuck us a rating, review on your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, YouTube, whatever app you use. Go nuts. From Oslo, they're behind the intro and outro song They Rule. So to House Hats, Joshua Della Rentis, Fascinated Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Section Green, Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear. So smash them. NBA Australia Sports Australian bands. So should you. All right, we'll catch you on Monday, dickheads. Have a great weekend. We'll see you then. Look after yourselves, would you? And let us now.